Okay. All right. So first things first, the thing I wanted to address, and I love this platform because I'm dealing with athletes, right? It's just a special kind of feeling that I have when I get to talk to athletes because you guys understand what it takes to be successful, what it takes to take it to the next level. Like you remember how it felt when you first got started in your sport and you went out there and you might not have been the best when you first touched it. And some of you might have been really good when you first touched it, but in some way, shape, or form, you probably dealt with some form of adversity that came along with it. So that's the thing I love about sports, right? The competitiveness of it, it's the great equalizer. You're going to face some form of adversity when you are dealing with sports, right? We've all been there before. You missed a shot, you got knocked on the ground, you got fouled, the ref wasn't calling fouls your way, all types of craziness. You didn't like the coach didn't like you, your parents weren't supportive, your family wasn't supportive, like you were getting booed, like you've had all the ups and downs. You know exactly what it feels like. This is one of those things. I love sports so much because it has nothing to do with race, color, creed, age, your background. None of that matters in any way, shape, or form. Is any of that going to help you when you step on the court, on the field, whatever type of competitiveness you're doing in the field of athletics? None of that matters for you. The only thing that matters is your mindset and how hard you're willing to work, like the effort that you put in. Are you willing to just put like the things that aren't as important to the side, like the partying, like the going out, the social time? You might miss uh, birthday parties, holidays, whatever, because you know that you have to play the game. You know that you have to be on the top of your game. So listen, I'm gonna go right into my story. I'm from Jersey City, right? I did not have the best background growing up, like the best upbringing. My mother and my father were drug dealers. And then because they decided to get out of the drug dealing game, my mother and my father both became heroin addicts because of the fact that they were struggling financially, right? They were just dealing with the stresses of the world, and that's what they fell into. Now they were able to beat their addiction, thankfully. They both, my mother and my father, they both beat their addiction, but it had, it was a toll on the family. It was a struggle, right? My mother and my father felt that the best thing for me was for me to move from Jersey City to the suburban area of East Windsor, right? At Central Jersey. Once I moved there, I was thrown into special ed classes where I stayed in special ed classes for 10 years, right? Now, because I was in those classes, I didn't think that I was dumb, right? I never thought that I was dumb when I was younger, but you don't realize that other people think that you're not smart until they tell you, or they put you in a situation where you start to think, oh, wait, maybe I'm not smart. Maybe something is wrong with me. Now, ultimately, I realized that nothing was wrong with me. I was perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with me at all. That's just the cards I was dealt, and that's what I had to work through. That was my adversity. That's what I had to go through. Now, for you, might be completely different. I don't know what the adversity might be for you. I'm not going to just name a bunch of things because I don't want to trigger anybody, right? But there's different forms of adversity that's out there. And my adversity doesn't weigh heavier than yours. Whatever it is that you're dealing with, that you're struggling with, it's important, right? That is a thing that's bothering you that you have to deal with, that you have to work through, because that's that form of adversity for you. And that's why I say adversity and sports, it's the great equalizer. We all have to deal with it in some way, shape, or form. Now, I'll give you an example of it, like a quick example of what it's like when you're dealing with adversity, because a lot of people say, oh, well, you're not dealing with any adversity if you come from money. Like if you have money in your family and you have all these riches and all these things, you can buy whatever you want, you can go wherever you want and do whatever you want. Okay, great. um Perfect example. There could be for example, a guy out there, right, born with money, has anything that he wants. When he grows up, he has all the money that he could ever ask for. Couldn't spend it in his lifetime if he tried, right? He could try giving it away and it still wouldn't work. He still can get rid of all that money. He can travel anywhere he wants, do whatever he wants, has enough power to move and do whatever, anything he possibly wants, right? But he runs into this beautiful young lady, beautiful young lady. And I'm talking about, she sweeps him off his feet. He can't stop thinking about her, right? Every single day. And he finally summons up the courage to go up to her and confess to her that I love you and I think I want you to be my wife, and I want to spend the rest of my life with you. And she says, wow, that's really nice, but I just don't see you that way. I just don't love you. And there's nothing wrong with that. You feel how you feel about people. But money can't change that. That is a form of adversity that that man is going to have to deal with. He's going to have to get through. Now, that's just an example, right? There's plenty of other examples out there, but I just wanted to give you that one just to get you to understand that, hey, adversity is going to hit all of us in some way, shape, or form. Now, with all the things that I dealt with within my life and in my family, all the ups and downs, right? The drug use with my mom and dad, the selling of the drugs with my mom and dad, me being in special ed classes for 10 years and being told that I couldn't go to college and I couldn't play college football, like I couldn't play sports, I was too small, like anything you can think of, I had thrown my way, right? With all that adversity, it was up to me to make the decision of whether I was going to listen to them or was I going to try to see this thing through and say, hey, let me just see what I can actually do with this, right? If you're playing cards, right, and you get dealt a bad hand, you could throw it in and just give up on it, or you could say, let me make the best possible moves that I can with this hand that I was dealt. I understand that I'm playing spades and I've got 2 in a possible, right? But I got to play that 2 in a possible. And the support is the people on the other side that might be your partner. Somebody that might come along and say, hey, listen, I understand that you're working hard and I see the value in what you're doing. I see that you truly value this game, right? It means something to you. And because of that, I am willing to support you. I'm willing to be there for you in any way, shape, or form that I can. Now, you don't know what that support is going to come in, like what shape or form. It might be financially, right? It might be just moral support. Somebody to pat you on the shoulder and pick you up when, dust you off when you've fallen on the ground, right? You don't know what it could, somebody might be able to provide opportunities, open doors for you. Hey, listen, I got this kid and they're good at rugby. They're good at soccer. They're good at hockey. Like they're good at football, right? You need to take a look at them, right? You might have that type of situation. You never know. But what I will tell you is that you'll never find out if there is somebody that's out there to help you, there is somebody out there to support you, there is somebody out there that's willing to watch you flourish and grind and get this thing that you say that you want, if you stop working for it. If you listen to what the naysayers say, if you listen to what people are telling you and they're constantly beating you down, constantly telling you what you can and you cannot do, and you start listening to it, right? Not just listening, because I get it. It can go in one ear and out the other, right? But when you actually start believing it, when someone tells you that you're no good, when someone tells you that you cannot be, when someone tells you that you are not, greater than, like you'll never be this or that, and you actually get to the point where you start believing it, that's when it has a hold on you and you will never attain the thing that you want. You'll never get it because you started believing it. But if each and every day you are constantly not just telling yourself that I'm going to be the greatest, that I'm going to be the best that I can possibly be, and you constantly do the work, you are consistent, you will get to the level that you want to get to. That I can promise you. That's one thing I can promise you. Like there aren't many things in this world that I can make a promise on, right? I very rarely say, I promise you this, or I promise you that. I very rarely do that. But what I can promise you is that if you do the work, the universe has no choice but to get out of your way. That is a fact. If you do the work long enough, people start to, like when your name comes up, it coincides with that topic. It coincides with that category. So if they said Brad Butler, then football was behind it because they remember me because they kept seeing me play football. You keep seeing me playing enough games. You keep seeing me work out. You're going to say that that's what he does. He plays football. Like he plays basketball. He plays tennis, soccer, golf, whatever it is. You see me doing it enough, then I become connected to that thing. And that's exactly what will happen for you. But the minute you stop, the minute you take your eyes off the prize, that's when you lose it. That's when people forget about you. The way that sports works is what have you done for me lately? That's what it is. They don't care about what you did in the past unless you're a Hall of Famer. Unless you've got some championships and some rings under your belt, they don't care about what you did in the past. The only thing they want to know is, what are you doing right now? What are you accomplishing now? And that's why it's so important going through this pandemic that you guys are dealing with right now, that you do not stop. I understand that it doesn't look good in a lot of situations. It doesn't look good at all. Most people are they're fearful. They don't know what's going to happen to them in the future. Are they going to be able to get into the colleges? Are they going to be able to go pro? Like, are they going to have the senior year that they thought that they were going to have? They don't know what it's going to look like. We don't know what the new norm is going to look like. But what I do know is if you stop working right now, you'll never get it. That is a fact. You will never get whatever it is that you said that you want. All those dreams and aspirations, all those times that you daydreamed in class about being on the field, shooting the buzzer beater, like making the last goal, like making that tackle, whatever it is, I promise you it will disappear. It will fall through your fingers like water because of the fact that you took your eyes off the prize and you let somebody make you believe that your dreams weren't possible just because there's a pandemic. Here's what I know. The draft just happened. NBA. There are people who got drafted. There are people who still made their dreams come true in the midst of a pandemic. The NFL season is still going. People are still playing high school ball. People are still playing in college. People are still moving. People are still doing the things that they said that they wanted to do. They're making the necessary adjustments. Now, mind you, they're being precautious. They're taking all the precautions that's necessary to make sure they keep themselves safe. That's the most important thing. But don't give up on your dreams just because things have changed, just because the circumstances are different. Listen, I wanted to play college football and I was small. I'll give you my stats. I'll tell you what my intangibles are. I am 5'8". I'm not very tall. I'm 5'8", and my playing weight, which most schools did not know about because I lied. Sorry, sometimes it's just, you got to do what you got to do, right? I lied about my weight when I would put my weight down, right? On the stat sheets, it would say that I was 160 pounds. It only said I was 160 pounds because I would put sandbags in my pocket when I got weighed in. My original weight, my natural weight coming into it was 140 pounds. I was always the smallest person, most likely height-wise and weight-wise, on the team. But you couldn't measure the size of my heart. I could care less who you put in front of me. Almost every team that I played for, I always started off at the bottom of the depth chart. I was always the last corner, the last defensive back on the depth chart. But by the time week 1 started or a couple weeks into the season, I was the number 1 corner. I was their starting corner. Why? Because I came to practice every day. I worked, and I worked outside of the practice. I was cerebral with the game. I understood formations. I understood what they were doing and how they were trying to get over on me. And I understood how to use my teammates to help me be a better player. So in order for you to do that, in order for you to get to that level, you got to make sure that you dominate. And I'm not talking about just dominating on the field. I'm talking about dominating in the classroom so that you even have a chance. Because that's the thing that most people miss. They don't understand that if they don't dominate in the classroom and on the field, you're no good to anybody. That's the main thing. So what you got to understand is that you absolutely have a chance. There's always an opportunity. So I talk about possibility and probability all the time, and I'm sure you know what possibility means. It just means, is it possible, right? Can this thing happen? But what most people don't talk about is probability. Probability is the likelihood of something happening. You already know if you play sports, you deal with probability all the time. Because when you're dealing with probability, that's what's going to tell you the likelihood of something being successful. Is a play going to work properly? Is the player that they have on the field, is that person going to produce the way that we want them to? Right? Probability is a huge thing. So think about this. If you give up and you quit right now on whatever it is that you said that you wanted to do, what is the probability of you being successful? Don't worry, I'll give you the answers to the test. It's 0. You have no chance. No chance at all. I could care less if somebody is not very good as long as they're trying. Because the more you try and the more you work at a certain thing, the better you will get. Now, I understand that there's some people out there, they're just naturally gifted. I'm sorry. There's nothing you can do about Steph Curry when he pulls up for a three. When he wide open, he pull up for a three, you might as well just start walking to the other side because most chances it's over. He's shooting from the logo. He's shooting from the W section. He's not even on the court. He's shooting and splash. All right. Well, I don't know what you want me to do about that, coach. Like, the probability is so high for him, but it's only high because he worked on it. He practiced. He continued to grind. Go back. Look at Steph Curry's draft report. The things they said about him. How small he was, how skinny he was, how he wasn't a true point guard. How it would be hard for him to direct and, be able to maneuver a team properly and be a leader for them. And look at what he's doing now. Ridiculous. He has literally changed the way that the game is played. You've never seen as many people taking as many threes as they're doing right now because of him. Why? That was a part of his game. He knew he couldn't come up and dunk like LeBron. He knew like he wasn't going to be in the league very long if he did that. But what he did know is that I've got a special skill set. There's something that I can do better than most people. And if I master this thing, if I master this skill set, there's going to be a lane for me. The universe will get out of my way and it will open a door for me. That is the same thing that will happen for you. And I don't know if it's that you go online, you go on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, and you make videos of you training, showing off that area that you know that you dominate the most. Whatever it is, but you carve out a niche for yourself and you say, I'm going to be the best in this area. I carved out a niche for myself. When I stepped on the field, I knew that I was not going to be a liability for my team. There were never going to be a game that happened if we lost and they would come and say, oh, Brad is the reason that we lost the game. He wasn't tall enough. He wasn't big enough. He wasn't strong enough. He wasn't fast enough. He didn't know the game enough. That was never going to happen on my watch. Every time I stepped on the field, I knew what I was supposed to be doing, what everyone else was supposed to be doing, and I knew how to put myself in a position that was going to allow me to dominate, and there was nothing that anybody else could do to stop it. It didn't matter how big you were, how strong you were, how fast you were, how long you've been playing the game, where you came from, how much money you had. None of that mattered. Why? Because I was in full control of what I could control. And you have the same exact opportunity. You can do the same exact thing. You find that one thing. You don't have to find a million different things. Just that one thing that you dominate, that one thing that's your skill set, the one thing that makes you special, the one thing that you're gifted in, and you use it to the best of your ability. You dominate that thing, and I promise it will make room for you. I don't know what that thing is for you. I don't know you personally enough to tell you, hey, this is that thing for you, but you do. You know exactly what that thing is. And you might have been trying to ignore it because you don't think that thing is special, but I'm telling you it is. I'm telling you whatever it is that you have that makes you who you are, it's a part of you. Your DNA pool, it is who you are. It makes you who you are. And you got to gravitate to that thing and hold on to it with everything that you got. Because that's what's going to make you stand out. I played football in college. I walked on. Okay, great. Won a championship. Great. Right? I played semi-pro football, won a championship doing that. Great. I was going to stop playing football after that because I felt like I did, what I came to do. Like, I knew I wasn't going to try to go to the pros. That really wasn't my goal. I wasn't trying to go to the NFL. I just wanted to play the game because I loved it. And my brother got hurt. So you got to have a why. You got to have a why behind what you do. The reason why I played football as long as I did was because of the fact that my brother got hurt by our junior year in high school. Freak accident. We were outside playing football in the snow and somebody landed on his leg in a crazy position. Caused a blood clot, almost went up to his heart, and he almost died. My brother lost his career. He lost his career just outside playing football in the snow. No one could have imagined that. And I felt so bad because I didn't know. I was one of the people who told him, come on, bro, let's go outside and play football. This is what we do. We play football. In the snow, it's fun. Like, you can't get hurt on the snow. And I had to live with that. That I was one of the people that said, nah, bro, come on, we're going to go play. And then he got hurt, and I thought it was nothing. I thought it was just a cramp or something. Come to find out he almost lost his life. when I realized that I could have been a part of him losing his life, I said, I don't care how small I am. I don't care what the odds are, but I'm going to play the way that my brother would have played. I'm going to give it everything that I had because my brother would die for the opportunity to be out here and playing just one more time. So I'm going to give this thing everything I got. So I played in college, won a championship. I played semi-pro football, won a championship. I was going to stop playing football, and I ended up getting recruited to Team America. I played for Team America, played against Canada. We won a championship in the Globe Bowl against them. I was going to stop playing football after that. I've done enough. Then I found out that there were 2 contracts out there for me to play overseas in Brazil. Now, at the time, I really was like, okay, I think I'm good at this point. I didn't want to leave my wife for 6 months out of the year. So I decided to turn those contracts down and stay home. But in the midst of all that, after I graduated from college, I started building my career as a speaker. And the same butterflies that I would get before I stepped on the field to play football were the same butterflies that I would get before I got ready to speak. That's how I knew that that was that thing for me. It wasn't hard for me to speak. It wasn't hard for me to tell my story. I enjoy it. I get a lot of joy out of telling my story. I get a lot of joy out of helping other people to recognize that you're not the only one. You're not the only one going through something. Like, you're not the only one that's lost something. You're not the only one that has ups and downs in your life. But what I can show you through my story and through my experiences is that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Better yet, I always tell people that I didn't want to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I wanted to be the light at the end of the tunnel for somebody. I wanted to be that person where it's like, yo, all you got to do is look to Brad. Brad can show you how to get it done. And look at where he started. Look at what he came from. Look at all the things that he had to overcome for him to get to where he's currently at. I'm not big on my accolades. I'm not. Like, as Ms. Hunt said earlier, she didn't name my accolades and stuff because I really have a hard time with it. I'm just not vain. But I'm a multiple award-winning motivational speaker. I'm an author working on my 2nd book now. I've been featured on Fox. I've been featured in a number of other places as well. Let's see. I've spoken for Fortune 500 companies like Verizon and Mass Mutual, and I've been on Cablevision. Like, there's so many different things that I've been able to do, right? But it came from working. It came from just leaning on my gift. I promise you, whatever it is that you want is there. It's there for you to get. So listen, I'm gonna give you my my ABCs for success, right? Very simple, very straight to the point. Everyone's been through kindergarten here, so ABCs, everybody's gonna follow right along. So we're gonna go with the first one. A is awareness. You just gotta be aware of where you are and where you wanna go, how you wanna get there, what's it gonna take to get there, right? What is your gifts? What are your limitations? I don't like to say weaknesses. I don't like to say weaknesses. You're not weak. You're not weak in that specific area, whatever that is for you. It's a limitation, right? But you can work on it. You can build on it. I'll tell you, my limitation, I'm terrible when it comes to accuracy. Like data-driven stuff, you give me too much information, it's like data overload. And I just start like, all right, I got to give this to somebody else. I can't do it. Like, math was never really my thing because we got the variables and, you know, you got all these other things that come in. They start mixing in letters. I'm like, how the letters get in here? Like, we're supposed to be doing numbers. How we getting letters, right? They start doing all that stuff and I start, you know, having a moment, right? Now, mind you, I say it was a limitation because my degree in college was business management. It's nothing but business math. So how did I do it? I had a why. Like, if my mother and my father were able to beat their heroin addiction, then I can beat the school system. My why was attached to that thing. My why was attached to my mother and my father when it came to school. And my why was attached to it every time I stepped on the field to play football. If you're relying solely on yourself, you are going to fail. It can't just be about you. And I don't care who you attach your why to. It can be your pet fish. I don't care. But it's got to be somebody other than yourself. If you say to yourself, listen, I want to get my dog the best Purina brand that's out there, and I got to be able to afford it, so I got to make sure I go out there and do this. Great. You have something to attach to. But I promise you, you will stop. You will give up if it's only about you, if it's only about money, if it's only about cars, if it's only about homes. I promise. But as soon as you attach a face to it, as soon as you get ready to quit and you start thinking about your grandmother, your grandfather, your mother, your aunt, your uncle, your sister, your brother, you start thinking about that mentor who gave up money, time, resources for you. You start thinking about your community. You start thinking about your history. You start thinking about the people that came before you, the people that paved the way for you. You start thinking about those people. It's extremely hard for you to quit. I cannot quit. My mother, I made a promise to my mom. My mom made me promise, Brad, promise me you will not stop speaking life into people. And I can't break that promise to my mom. And I know you all know what that feels like. I mean, all you want to do is just show your mom, your dad, your family members that I made it. I proved them wrong. And I'm telling you, you can do it. But you can't let go of the images. You can't let go of the thought process. You can't stop putting positivity into your mind. You can do it. You're more than capable of it. All right, next one, B, you got to begin. You got to get started. I promise you may have so many lofty dreams and all these goals, all these things that you want to do, but if you don't get started, if you don't begin, it's never going to happen. You gotta get started. You have to begin. And the last one is C, consistency. Listen, I'll tell you right now, if you're persistent, you'll get it. But if you're consistent, you'll keep it. I'll say it again for you. If you are persistent, you will get it. But if you're consistent, you will keep it. Listen, it's a lot of people that get drafted to the NFL and the NBA, WNBA, whatever sport they're playing. How many of them stay? What is the life expectancy of one of those, professional athletes? It's like 3 to 5 years. Only the best, only the cream of the crop, only the ones who are willing to work day and night for this thing, they get to stay. And wherever it is that you go, I want you to stay there. I want you to show them that you were meant to be there. I'm still speaking, I'm still moving, there are plenty of people that I know of that are much more talented than me when it comes to speaking, but I'm still here because I'm still applying pressure. I'm applying pressure to the industry. I'm applying pressure to the game until the floodgates break. Why? Because I know that I'm going to tire them out. You ain't willing to work as long as I'm willing to work. You're not willing to grind as hard as I'm willing to grind. If I got to get up early, if I got to go to bed late at night, if I have to invest money in my business, whatever it is that I have to do, I'm willing to do it because I know what is going to happen. I know there's a reward for it. I know that all I have to do is outlast some people. Sometimes it's just about stamina. It's a marathon that you're running. It's not a 100-yard dash. That marathon, don't worry about when the gun goes off and everybody takes off running and you're in the back. Don't worry about it. When you get to the end of the race, that's what tells you who's been working. That's what tells you who's been grinding. You got everything you need. Most people think that it's money that they need a coach, they need all these different things. You don't. It starts with you. It starts with you being consistent and doing the work and grinding day in and day out. And I promise your opportunity will come for you. So listen, I'm sorry, how much time do I have left? I just want to make sure.
Oh yeah, I'd say about 20 minutes, but whenever you have, you'd like to end.
Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a story, right? I'm going to give you a story for you guys. Hopefully you'll remember it and use it one day, and it'll help you to get through a tough moment in your life, right? So I'm going to do this story, and then we're going to open it up for Q&A. Is that okay? You good with that? Okay, great. So, man, there was this guy who he had a family, he had a wife, kids, everything, big house, luxury cars, making a whole bunch of money. I'm talking about balling. He was doing his thing, right? And he fell on some hard times. He lost his job, he lost his money. He wasn't the same person anymore. So his wife was like, listen, I can't do this with you anymore. So I'm taking the kids and I'm leaving. So she took the kids, she took everything. And he ended up being homeless. He lost everything. He was living under a bridge. And one day, a friend of his had walked by the bridge and saw him there. He said, oh my God, what are you doing here? He said, I lost everything, man. I lost my wife, my kids. I lost the money. I lost everything. And he said, I don't know how to get it back. Like, I've actually been contemplating suicide because I don't know what to do with my life at this point. And he said, well, listen, I'm your friend. I'm not going to let you do that. All right. I don't care what you're going through. I don't care what happened. I know this guy. It's like a coach, right? Let's go talk to him. He's helped thousands of people get back on their feet. I want you to talk to him. He said, all right, fine. They go down there to meet this guy. He said, all right, you go ahead in there and you go talk to him. You let me know what happens afterwards. He said, all right, fine. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'll give it a try. So he goes in, walks into the coach's office. He sees him there. He says, hey, listen, I know you might be busy and stuff, but listen, this is my last resort. I lost my wife, my car, my clothes, my house, my kids, my money. I lost everything, man. I'm homeless. I'm living under a bridge. And to be completely honest and transparent with you, I've been thinking about suicide because I just don't know how I'm going to make it through this. And I was told that you're the person that can help me to fix it all. And the coach looked at him. He was puzzled. He said, wow, that's heavy. He said, listen, I'm sorry. I don't know who told you that I can fix your problem for you, but I can't do that for you. I can't fix those problems. He's like, what? I came all the way down here and you're telling me that you can't fix my problems? Like, I thought you were a coach. He says, I'm a coach. Wait, calm down. Okay, I can't fix any of those problems for you. I'm sorry. But there is somebody here that can actually fix it for you. He's, oh, why didn't you say that in the first place? Got me like, I'm feeling like I came to the wrong place. He said, oh, no, you're in the right place. No, the person that can help you fix it, don't worry, I'll take you to him. Come on. He said, oh, all right, great. Now he's feeling better about it. He said, come on. He walks him over to this door. He opens the door and it's really, really dark, right? It's a stairwell going downward and he can't see. He said, I've never seen anything like this. This is extremely like dark. Like I can't see the bottom of these stairs. He said, yeah, I know, but don't worry about it. Now there's a light at the top, so you can find your way back. And he's like, okay. He said, well, are you going with me? He said, yeah, of course. He's like, I'm actually going to go ahead of you. He said, oh, okay. Well, I feel a lot better about it now. You're going to go ahead of me. He said, come on, just give me your hand. I know like the railings are a little rickety and stuff. Come on, I'll bring you down the steps, but just keep walking down. Don't stop. He said, okay, fine. Not a big deal. He's like, but you're setting the guys down. He said, absolutely. He said, okay. So he starts bringing them down the steps. And as he's walking down, it starts getting darker and darker. So the darkness is up by like his knees. He said, okay, this is really dark and I'm getting further away from the top of the steps. I am getting a little nervous. He said, I know, but don't worry about it. Everybody goes through this process. It's not a big deal. You're perfectly fine. I'm right here with you and I'm holding your hand. So come on. So he started walking down the steps even more. And now the darkness is up by his shoulders. And he says, okay, I'm getting really nervous now. I don't know you, right? Like you're a stranger to me and you're trying to get me to believe that going down to this dark area is going to help me. He says, I promise you that we're almost there. Just keep on walking. He said, I don't know. He said, come on, man. We're almost there. He keep going down. Now the darkness is above his head. So it's pitch black in front of him. He can't see anything, but he's at the bottom of the steps now. He said, well, I can't see anything. And he has his hands out in front and the guy lets go of his hand. He said, I can't see anything and I can't feel you. Like I don't, and also he can't get to the light anymore. I guess the guy switched off a light. So now the light at the top of the step is gone. It's pitch black down there. He can't see anything. He's like, I can't see anything. Like, are you still here? The guy stops talking to him. Like, you got to say something. Like, I can't see anything and I'm nervous. Like, please, like do something. And he ends up walking into a wall. He walked into the wall. He's like, oh my God. Okay, like I walked into a wall and it's pitch black. I can't see anything and I'm getting nervous. I got to get out of here. I'm getting nervous. And he starts to have a panic attack. And he's like, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to find the steps. I'm getting out of here. And when he gets ready to try to take off the run and go to the door, a light switches on, illuminates the whole room. He looks around, and all the walls that are around him are mirrors. He said, you brought me all the way down here just to look at some mirrors? You're crazy. You really must have lost your mind. He said, no, I'm not crazy. I haven't lost my mind. You said that you wanted to meet the person that would help you to fix all the problems that you have. I want you to look in one of these mirrors. He said, I don't even believe this. He said, I promise you, every issue that you have, everything that you're dealing with right now, that person in the mirror can help you solve it. No one else can do it for you. It's up to you to solve this problem. Listen, I understand that making a shift is very difficult, but change is as far as your closest mirror. I'll say it again for you. Change is as far as your closest mirror. So what I'm asking all of you to do today is, if you are dealing with anything at all that you feel is hindering you and stopping you from getting to wherever it is that you want to get to in your life, I'm asking you to look in the mirror and have a conversation with yourself. And I promise you, you'll fix any of the issues that you're dealing with. Listen, my name is Brad Butler II, and I encourage every last one of you to make your next day your best day. Thank you so much for listening.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brad. That was honestly just a really amazing talk, and I really appreciate you being here. And I love that story. I'm already thinking my mirror is just across my room. But thank you so much. I think this was really amazing, and I know personally it's really going to help me through any adversity that I face in the future, and also currently anything that I'm going through. So I really appreciate that. And I can't speak for everyone else, but yeah, I assume that everyone else, yeah, someone said in chat that it was really inspiring, and it really was. So we can open it now, if you're okay with this, to a quick Q&A for anybody that has any questions. We have about 15 minutes left, so I think that's a good amount of time for everyone that has some questions. So I can start us off with a question that I had, and for anybody else, you guys can either put it in chat, or you guys can raise your hand. If you go to participants, there should be a raised hand icon that you can click on, and then we can call on you, or just honestly unmute yourself, because what's nice about the Q&A is that we can be fairly informal. But I was wondering, I love your focus on that positive but also determined mindset, really having the why behind what you want to do, and always kind of pushing yourself forward to get what you want. And so I guess I was wondering, how do you kind of keep that determined and positive mindset on those days that really just feel like the world is against you? Because sometimes, at least personally, it feels like sometimes having that positive mindset can be easier said than done. And I have a really hard time on those, specific days that just feel like, the world around me is just kind of falling apart.
Yeah, I can completely understand that. One thing that you really want to do is try to stay connected with positive individuals, people that are looking to take their lives to the next level, people that are looking to do things that are positive within their life. They say if you hang around, 4 negative people, you're bound to be the fifth one, right? And that's true, because misery loves company. If you notice, people that have the most drama in their life, they normally have other people in their life that have drama too. Like they stay around those people. And you notice the people of this world who are wealthy, the people who are doing well, they're always happy and joyful. They stay with people around them that are going to uplift them. They're not even allowed to go around those people with those negative attitudes, like that negative persona, that negative vibe. Like they're not allowed to. Like, you come around me with all that, listen, I'll give you a couple minutes to vent and get it out your system. But I'll give you, all right, for example, I'll give you like 3 to 5 minutes to vent and get it out your system, because sometimes you need to vent. But then I want about 10 to 15 minutes of you telling me how you're going to solve it. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear that you're going to fight back. Like nobody is going to stand here, you know, and let life just slap them in the face and then they're not going to go back out there and fight. You have to fight. If you don't, then you're just going to be in a standstill and you're constantly going to just get beat. If it's not one thing, it's another. Because there's always going to be a form of adversity. There's always going to be a challenge. Those people out there that are constantly saying, man, things are always happening to me. Like things are always going bad. If it's not one thing, it's another, this and that. It's because they probably didn't deal with some of the other forms of adversity first. So now it's compiled. It's a compound factor. One bad thing on top of another and another and another because you never addressed anything. So now you're like, my shoes don't fit. Oh man, my car broke down. I don't have enough money for this. So now it's all these different things instead of it being one issue that you could have addressed as soon as it came up.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I really appreciate that answer. And yeah, sorry, I'm just kind of, I guess, taking that in because I think that does make sense, really, you know, surrounding you with yourself with that positive community. And, you know, I'm lucky with the friends and family that I have been super supportive. So that definitely makes sense. Hannah, do you have a question?
Yeah, I'm just interested. So I was thinking, I'm kind of interested in thinking about what athletes do after they retire from their sport or start to phase out of the competitive world. So I'm curious more about your decision to get into motivational speaking or like this educational space. What were the kind of factors that led you to that?
The funny thing about getting into the educational, or I guess you say motivational speaking realm, is I didn't want to do it. I didn't think that um, man, I didn't think that I had a story. I didn't think that I was worthy. I think that's the word I'm really looking for. I didn't think I was worthy enough to go out and speak life into people because I was like, man, who am I? I'm nobody. I don't have a network. Like, what have I done that's so special? Like, I'm just a regular guy. Like, you know, I didn't go to the NFL. I didn't go pro. Like, you know, that's the way I was thinking, and that's that negative thought process. Whereas one of my teachers, the person who brought me in to speak for the very first time, she was like, Brad, you don't understand what you've done. Like you are an anomaly. You spent 10 years in special ed classes, beat the system, and went to college and got 2 college degrees. That doesn't happen. Like Brad, and you did that off sheer will, like willpower. It wasn't finances. It wasn't somebody doing the work for you. I took every test and I failed a lot of them. Let's put that out there too, because it's not like I was out there just getting A's. Some of them I was just barely passing, but I passed, right? Because I would start off and like, okay, I got an F, and then I got to go back and take the class again. Okay, then I got a D. Okay, got to take the class again. That's the thing that people miss. That's the stuff that people don't tell you about. When you see people on the G5 jets and you see people driving around in the luxury cars and they're flashing money and stuff, they don't tell you about the failures. One of the things that I love to do and what makes me who I am is I tell you about how it was all wrong. I did it all wrong. I made all the bad mistakes, but then I tell you how I fixed it. I tell you how I got to where I'm at. So the main thing is finding the thing for you that you really love when it comes to the sport itself, because the physical aspect is not going to be there forever. We get older. It just happens. So you have to find something else within that realm that you have a love for. I don't know if it's managing, coaching, equipment managers, what's the word I'm looking for? Advertisement, marketing. There's so many different realms you can get into. It's really endless. There's so many different things. You could be a sports management lawyer. Like there's so many different things that you can do. Like that's why people have those niche markets, because it's like, okay, if I'm going to be a lawyer, I want to do it involving sports, man. I loved baseball. I want to help these guys not get cheated out of their contracts and stuff like that. Let me help them. That's where the why comes in. The why comes in because you start thinking about, if that was me, if I was playing baseball and I was putting my body on the line, if I was doing this and that, I would want somebody to go to bat for me. I want somebody to help me. I want somebody to be there for me. And that's when you find the right people in the right space, because it's not about money anymore. It's about the art form. It's about doing the right thing. It's about being there for other people. That's when you find the people who really are like, they hit their stride.
Awesome. Yeah. And I guess to that point, or to that kind of extending that question, you know, you mentioned you always you always have to find those things that, like cause those butterflies and the things that are, worth working towards. And I guess to kind of further the point you were making, I was wondering, how do you find those things that you love if it's not something that automatically? Would you say it's, maybe mostly just trial and error, talking to different people, seeing what may what may like fit you the most? Or I guess, how would you go about that process if you aren't really sure yet, what you love?
Well, there's a couple of different ways that you can go about it. You can trial and error, trial by fire, just jumping into a couple of different things and just seeing what sticks, what works, what you like, what don't you like, because you're learning something in that process anyway, whether things go right for you or not. You're learning whether you like it or not. And then the other way is you can ask some of the people that are closest to you, what do you think that I'm really good at? What is something that you would come to me to do for you or to help you with? Like if you wanted advice, if you wanted to get my advice on something, what would you come to me for?
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's super helpful because at least, I talk with my friends all the time and I think it's hard, especially once you're younger, I guess, to figure out exactly, what you love to do, and I guess figure that out. So that's super helpful. Um, I'm wondering, does anybody else have any questions that they would like to ask before we, wrap up this session? We only have about 5 minutes left. So if no one has any more questions, we can definitely end the meeting here. But just write out in chat or raise your hand if you do have a question. I'll kind of let you guys brainstorm if you do. So quickly, I'd just like to say thank you all so much for coming today. And thank you, Brad, for being here. I really do appreciate it. And I think everyone got a lot out of this. And I know a lot of students that were planning on coming do live internationally. So they're very excited to watch the recording of this. So thank you for letting me record this. It'll be up on YouTube. And we'll have our next meeting. I don't know the specific on the logistics yet, but it will be in January, most likely with Rish Chadwick, who is a professional rugby player. Yeah, so I guess that's it for me. If anybody has anything else they would like to say, please go for it. But thank you all so much for coming today. I really appreciate it. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you guys so much for having me. If you like, you guys can you can follow me on all social media platforms. It's just Brad Butler II. Very simple and easy to find. So once again, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys and have a great day. And yeah, go out and get it. Go make it happen.
Awesome. Thank you guys. See you later.
Thank you.